And welcome everybody to Spore War After the War, our weekly analysis and retrospective series on the Spore War Actual play that hopefully you've been watching and have just come to join us. This is our chance to celebrate the events that we liked in the last episode, or perhaps the whole series. Ask questions about things we want to learn more about, and maybe pull back the curtain and talk a little bit about actual play production, which we've been doing throughout this series as well.
Jason, there's too many people here.
You ruined my intro already. Thanks. And I'm not going to edit this out. I'm just going to chastise you and then continue.
Welcome to everyone.
My name is Jason Collins. I am a freelance comic book writer. I'm an award-winning actual play game master and producer, occasional freelance tabletop role-playing game designer. You can find links to my work, the other award-winning actual plays I've been a part of here on Dungeon Scrawlers, on my link tree at digital_Collins. And as I was about to say, where I would normally toss it to the Gamerunner for Spore War, Matt, I was about to say I can't find Matt because there's too many damn people on my screen. But as usual, Matt had to jump in and steal the thunder. So Matt, just take it away.
I am so glad to be here, and I'm really glad. I think it was your idea, Jason, for the final after the war to have all the players join in and provide sort of a closing commentary on book one before we take a little break before we go into book two. And I'm really delighted everyone was available. This was a great idea. So I'm Matt. I'm the game runner. Let's get into it.
Take a moment, everybody. Anybody who's been watching along hopefully knows who you all are by now. But as a moment, take a moment to introduce yourselves and remind us who your character was, and then we'll jump right into things.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gwendolyn. Welcome to another episode of After the Divorce. These two are hitting a tough time, so we've come in to mediate this. The character I'll be role-playing this, this intimate therapeutic session is Briella Sparkburn, the Irovaran wizard, who did everything she could to hold it together for everyone. I need to be strong, and I think she did. At the end of the day, I think she held it together and made the plays. I feel like a post-game, like a football game where you're watching and they're like, the interview after the game is like, yeah, we got out there, we tried hard, we played the best we could, I'd just like to, thank the coach, thank the team. I'd like to thank the, everybody behind the scenes that makes this happen. Go Seahawks? Wait, no, that's not right. Hello.
Oh, sorry, caught me yawning. Hey, I'm Par.
Well, yeah, we all wanted to yawn, while Gwen was talking, but
hey everyone, this is now not after the war, this is during the fight. Hey, hey Par, what's going on? You don't like my football jokes?
I was very tired. Welcome back to After the Danger, where we wrap up and talk about every fight we've had this campaign. I played J.D. Orfelaval, who is a full elf monk, going all 20 levels of monk. Tanking, self-healing, getting around pretty fast. Just all around good. And if I had to sum up my time playing the character, I think I did a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, even when the dice were like, hey, no, you were just like, but consider yes. So, hi, I'm Lex. You can find me on the internet at LexArts with 2 X's, such as my card where all of my links are. And I played Banda, the Dromar Ranger, who is half elf, half orc, and full problems. 100% problems, having problems. He doesn't know what's happening and how he got here in life. But he's here. So, yeah.
What choices?
Choices. So many choices were made. So many questionable choices.
All of the player characters had complications that made them challenging. And what fertile soil for storytelling, along with the dice telling the story they wanted to tell. This was the richness in the characters really built what we created, I think. Anyway, sorry, I'm interrupting the introductions.
I completely agree with you. Hi, my name is Sky. I am currently a purple block with an S on top of it. And as an individual with a psychology degree, I am choosing to remain silent about the borderline marital disagreements that have been frequently occurring between the two lovely gentlemen that have made this all happen. I have been playing the wonderful, awkward, and strange fetchling, Ivarn fetchling thaumaturge, Varen Ilan, who has been hated by hero points for essentially the entirety of this chapter, and was at one point deeply considering getting rid of the mirror implement until it randomly decided to come in very, very hefty use at the very, very last moment.
Absolutely wondrous.
We gotta each buy a little mirror in case we run up against Abercandrelu again.
Just have it on a pendant and just walk around with it. Just here, look at this, look at this, look at yourself.
What a fantastic psychological game mechanic for that particular demon.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, somebody's
cool.
gonna have to send me the spelling of that because I want to look up that creature after this.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I remember reading about it in Hi, I'm Stephen Merlino. I played Toad. I once ran what's it called? The Righteous, Wrath of the Righteous. And I didn't know anything about Pathfinder, but I thought it was a really cool concept. So I sort of tried to run it as D&D, and it was really hard to translate it because the numbers are so different for like proficiency and everything. But there's a scene where these Abercandrelu are like making puppets out of dead paladins, and they're and one of the things they do is I don't know, they come from some kind of vanity source, and they want to mutilate anything beautiful. And so one of the things they will do is try to maim beautiful people, like just like claw up their faces or whatever. It's kind of horrifying the way it's described, but yeah, the mirror therefore is super effective. It's a really cool mechanic. I had a really good time doing this. The first time I played 2e. I've listened to a lot of 2e actual plays, so I had a pretty good idea how things work. But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about it compared to 1e, which I've played a lot since that first time I ran that thing. And Toad, it's interesting. Paladins have, they have these little lanes they have to pick. Liberator, I don't know, something else and something else. I chose Liberators. That's the one I know. But there are a lot of abilities that they have. I think I've only used once in all of the, like once in one of our first adventures when the crab had hold of somebody, liberate that person. That's it. It's really funny. So it feels like there's an abundance. What was that?
If you hadn't have done it, I'd have died and had to re-roll a new character
in the
very
first
session. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, that was perhaps one of the scariest encounters because we were so weak. We were like 3rd level or something, and
We were.
Man, yeah, but it's really interesting to build the character, and I'm pretty much building him to have all kinds of curative abilities, and he really hasn't used many. I'm sure that'll change. But it's fun because the things he does use, it's really fun to have a lot of situational abilities, but also his main deal. And that's mostly just being really tough, really effective, and he has lots of tricks up his sleeve, I guess is a way to put it, that may come in handy.
One thing I just thought of, and if you don't mind my jumping in here.
Yeah, go for it.
your characters are now 14th level.
No, 13, right?
No, we're 14. We
Or
just got
just leveled to 14.
Oh,
And
So
the
remember to do that.
complications that your characters have are the complications that really have evolved from first level. But something about what you just said about the Adlanku demon and their psychological complexity and the complexity of the characters. One thing I'd like you to think about, all of you, before book 2 is how do you make your current character complexities resonate more once they have true potency? You know, they're starting to climb into the top 25% of the power band of player characters and beings in the world. And I recently reread the Fionn Tapestry, a Guy Gabriel Kay series, his first series, where one of the demigods, not a god, he's a demigod, the son of a god in it. He was spurned by a woman he loved, and so he vowed to destroy all existence as his revenge on the world that had witnessed the world that had deigned to witness his humiliation.
what a child.
Wow.
Right. But those sorts of grand strokes of characters as they get to that level of extreme potency, your ambitions have to change and evolve. And obviously he's a villain in the story, but that's something to think about before we launch into book 2.
What, be specific there again, for those of us who have trouble thinking. What is it we need to focus on?
Just the idea of how your characters would react to their powers being at the top tier, starting to approach the top tier of the power band of entities within Golarion, because it changes one's perspective.
Yeah. Arrogance, vanity, those things would be tempting.
Or Toad is a particularly noble character without a lot of patience for anyone who's self-interested, or he's a complex character. I think some of these player characters would have had and would continue to have some sort of discomfort with being influential.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, he's never been.
Don't even worry about that. Banda just is ignoring it hardcore.
Right. But ignoring it hard is part of that interaction with growing influence.
Is any of our characters excited about this influence? Is anyone?
No.
I don't know if any of us are anywhere in this tavern franchise.
Listen, fully excited, no, but I do own a tavern and sell a lot of alcohol.
So much.
This is a great thing.
On that level
Publicity.
of influence, the making money, the craftsmanship angle, Banda's like, oh yeah, that he can wrap his head around, and so he's like, yeah, I can throw myself in that 100%. I'm behind JDR and his, alcohol endeavors. I'm making stuff. I'm a tattoo legend soon to be. Like, I can do all these things. But the concept of, I'm in the top, one of the top percentiles of power level. He's like, no, I almost die every adventure we go on. I get beat to hell and back. No, I'm not at that tier of power.
But you're going to be put in charge of things again.
Horrifying even.
I'm gonna be
Stop putting me in charge of things.
I'm gonna be so honest. I don't even think Varen has noticed the increase in power at all. As a researcher, because it's like you're always seeking to learn new things, and the stakes have been increasing at an increment of Varen is absorbing this knowledge, and suddenly there's just more knowledge to absorb. I don't think they've noticed.
They're completely distractible by the fact that the exposure to sources of information are greater than their time to spend exploring them.
Exactly. It's like it's a candy store. It's a kid in a candy store. Without, it's just like, oh, this is a weird thing that I don't know anything about. That's rare.
Why are shadows now at my beck and call, but not 100%?
Oh yeah, no, that's so fascinating to me. And Matt just hit me with that at the end of the last one. I was like, oh. Okay.
Here's this shiny new toy. You want to play with so bad.
I will find a way to do that in some mechanically relevant way, even though it's entirely cosmetic.
I'm aware.
For those that have taken the time to watch the After the War series, Matt and I come back to that again and again as you guys have hit your level marks, as we made it through the preludes, and then as we started book 1 at level 11. We've had conversations all along the way about the advancement of the characters, both for ourselves as just game masters in our personal gaming lives, about the joy and the challenge of running games for these high level characters and what that means, and then the challenges for us as players at our home table, for you guys as players for the actual play, in terms of how to manage and navigate the decisions you make with those higher level characters. Band my personal character at the home table for our Age of Ashes campaign that we ran over the past few years went on the same journey of being the loner, outcast, lone wolf character who was not charged and basically dragged kicking and screaming into the realm of the role of responsibility for an entire people. And so that's going to be something that I think you should lean into with Banda and really figure out what you want to do. And Sky, to that point about, here's a question I would ask Sky or ask Varen, right? Which relationships are more important to you now? The relationships in the real world around you, or the relationship with the shadows that are perhaps taking a more proactive role in your day-to-day, that might even have opinions on the decisions that you're making and share those opinions back with you? That's pretty wild, and that would be something that would be really fun to explore. But the challenge of the responsibility that Varen has isn't going away, and it's only increasing. Yet there's this other world that's pulling your attention, that you could lose yourself into, become a researcher, disappear into the library, and talk to shadows all day. But right now, the world will not give you that peace and time to do that. And how does that make you feel, right?
Yeah,
and for Toad doesn't crave notoriety or fame or riches or any of those things. But does Toad crave recognition? It's one thing to crave recognition of your friends, but Toad is a dwarven champion of an elven god. What would be worse, Toad? Or what would be perhaps more impactful, for Kettifis to acknowledge you, or for Kettifis to not acknowledge you?
Oh, definitely the latter.
So Matt and I have had specific conversations during the After the War series about the characters' relationships with gods, and when you get into those upper levels, at what point do your actions attract the attention of those gods? Because they are also vain and driven and narcissistic and pure, and they have their own aspirations, and they will channel those aspirations through their followers. And the higher level ones are the ones that have the greatest chance of success. And eventually you do attract their attention.
Gods and nations, because now the nation of Keonan in this story arc is going to have your player characters pose real challenges for the old guard in this entire nation. And the more you do to save them, the more complicated it becomes for them and for you.
And Mr. Parr with J. Dior, I think about the fact that you're the drunken master, and you're gonna go 1 to 20 rolling monk the whole way through, which is phenomenal. But I think about, we joked earlier at the start of this After the War about how the dice treated you throughout this entire book 1 series, but that to me is a story point as well, because we know J. Dior's potency and skill and proficiency, and yet time after time you were stymied or just slight errors in judgment. Would J. Dior ever question, is the booze making me stronger and faster, or is it holding me back?
Interesting. I have I have a lot I want to talk about with the characters, and part of it may be we had talked earlier in the summer, but we ran out of time to do one-on-one sessions. I still want to do that. It's something that I think would be a lot of fun, but I'd like to talk about some other things tonight as well, and I'd like to talk about the final episode. I'd like to talk about just what made this entire book excellent for me, and I don't know what order we should do things in, but I'd like to step just into one category of conversation before we go any further, which is I think it was amazing how much as a group you trusted me to guide through the story and stuck with it through the much longer episodic chain than we expected. I feel like I've grown a lot as a streamer. Like this is my first opportunity to stream a game and do an actual play of any kind, recorded, pre-recorded or not. We're toying with the idea of doing some live episodes. I feel like we've made as a group improvements, leaps and bounds in terms of keeping the pace up and keeping the, compared to the session 0 first couple sessions of the preludes to the most recent sessions, keeping the content more engaging and developing that. I'm really excited to see where we go with these subsequent books. So for me, I know where I really need to focus. Having a tighter facility with the rules for that rapid response if we're going live, having some assessment of how to keep the pace up and being able to manage that. That's for me the challenge, and I think we've made leaps and strides there. You've all risen to the challenge when Jason asked you to be quicker and sharper with your combat decisions and your combat rounds to keep the combat engaging. But where do you think the big changes are from the beginning of the session individually and collectively to where we ended off last week?
Oh, well, there's so many of us have special abilities we don't use very often, and we suddenly have to use them. Like, for instance, Toad using a tripping ability, which I'd always really been excited to use. But then I doubted that I had created the correct macro for it.
Yeah.
And at, when it came up, and then I realized I don't know what it's supposed to go against. Like, is it going against someone's reflex DC? And what is reflex DC? All that stuff. So kind of, it was kind of like a shakedown cruise for a new ship. You take it out and just see what pops loose, and then you fix it and you get ready for then you're ready for the real deal. And I feel like I'm not the only person who had that issue.
No, we all definitely did that.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I spent a lot of time, like the first prelude sessions, I felt like I just chose what I felt really strong, really good, very powerful spells, and it was like, they saved nothing, and it's like, they saved no damage, they take 4 damage, and I'm like, that's my most powerful spell, they did 4 damage, and like, relearning, like, okay, wizards are not, damage dealers, mostly, and they are like, thinking of zones of control, areas of effect, boosting and buffing allies, debuffing enemies, and I felt like going through, the whole arcane spell list, like how much I've grown, like trying to figure out what spells work, what spells don't. And I felt like once we got into book 1, I like found the spells. We found the tactics that worked well.
There was a huge pivot point. Absolutely.
It was basically disintegrate.
No, but like
slow.
The especially the buffs and debuffs, I think, are really when we started hitting traction for Briala as far as what worked well. Because I know I keep running into that as a ranger, is the things we're facing, I keep forgetting that we are level 14 now. We are that powerful. And the things we're fighting are also that powerful. So the DCs of these things has to be beefier than what we're... Like, I'm going for things that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm still in 5th level mindset and going, this DC of 28 would be murderous. And we're fighting things that it's like, 28? 28's a failure. That's a 1 for me. And I'm just like, what do you mean that's a 1?
There's also those moments where you hit on a 23 and that's scarier than if you had missed on a 23, because if you can hit this thing on a 23, how many hit points is it gonna have?
Yeah, but like those things, those freaking sin molds.
Oh, the sin molds, oh god. But no, like the one thing that really resonated with me, whereas like there was this massive clicking moment for Briala, was the wall of stone. Oh my god. And like that whole thing, because it's like Gwen had already made Briala into this indispensable character through like getting major damage off with disintegrates and everything like that, through major like area, and not even luck, it was the way that you played.
That was a brilliant tactical play.
It was a brilliant tactical play, and like all of that because like from my perspective as a thaumaturge, after reading the description of the class, I was like, oh, so this is kind of like a debuffer support, like secondary damage dealer type. No, primary like martial, very heavy like damage engine, that I was not expecting, and it's causing me to reevaluate the way that I look at the character, and I will definitely be reteaching a few things as we go into the next book. Just purely because I like this wasn't just my first foray into Pathfinder Second Edition. This was my first foray into Pathfinder at all.
Right.
So learning the way that all of these things work was fascinating and overwhelming at times. But as I've gone through who knows how many sessions by this point, I actually feel like I can make meaningful decisions with my character.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I think as somebody who has played 1E and this is their first foray into 2E, my biggest thing is that I'm thinking it's hard to get past the, hey, skills work this way, and then coming into 2E and going, skills do not work this way. Skills do not work this way at all. How do I upgrade my abilities and things? What am I doing?
Yeah, I still play a lot. Jason and I play a lot of Pathfinder 1E and some Pathfinder 2E, and so it's still it's so difficult to move back and forth between the two, and the rules confusion is a real thing. And then you add in Pathfinder 2E remastered, and they just renamed all the spells and made some other changes, of course, and it's extremely challenging for my middle-aged brain. But I think it is important to learn a couple of different rule systems nonetheless. There is something expanding about learning a lot of rule systems in terms of seeing the core mechanics, and at some point, I think it never gets to the point where you're post rules, but as a game master or game runner, being able to have a whole bunch of different rule systems at your fingertips means that you can, I think, better adjudicate what is a fair resolution of a challenge if the rules don't cover it, when you have all sorts of examples to draw from.
I'm going to take a moment to say thank you to Lex, because Lex has been our Roll20 guru in helping us master the sheets and helping everybody's sheets get updated, and using all the macros and all the even custom coding that Lex has done to help us out with that, so that things go. We made a decision early on in the decision to use Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and I'll be transparent, from an actual play production standpoint, it wasn't on my radar as something that I wanted to do, but Dungeon Scrawlers asked there's a group of content creators at Dungeon Scrawlers that we've run actual plays before, and they basically put out the call saying, is somebody willing to do Pathfinder 2e? We would like to have a Pathfinder 2e game on the channel. And I didn't jump at it right away, just because I was kind of in between games and I wasn't looking for the next production, but nobody else stepped up. And as Matt just pointed out, we've been playing it a lot, and we've gone back and forth a lot, which is both a blessing and a curse, in that we twist all the rules up in our brains literally weekly at our home table, depending on which system we play. But it was still fresh in mind, and we were just coming back around to 2nd Edition at the time we made the decision to go ahead with Spore War. And when I made the invitation to Seneschal to ask him, hey, listen, do you want to consider doing this with me? We made that decision to go, and so we made the decision to use Roll20 so that we could showcase the rules on the screen. And I've not had a ton of feedback from the audience or from anybody else, from a positive or negative. Some people love the immersion, just want to see your faces, just want to see the role play and the emotional reactions. But some people are very tactical, and they want to see the rules, and they want to see the dice rolls as they land, and have transparency for that. And so we tried to come up with the best of both worlds. And so thank you to Lex, because we made sure that the sheets worked well, so that every time you guys are using an ability, a skill, a spell, we've been sharing that on the screen for the audience all the way through. Some actual plays do that themselves, do it with their own games as well. Some do it well, some don't do it well. The resolution's small, the screen's small. You can't read it if you're watching it on a smaller device. So there's a technical component that goes along with that in terms of how much real estate of the screen are you going to take up to showcase that. But from a demonstrating the value of the game and the merits of the game, we wanted to do so in a positive way and really demonstrate, here's all the hard work that Paizo's put into Pathfinder 2e, and here's how we're sharing that with you, so that you can follow along as if you were sitting at the table alongside us.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, Lex. Although, as someone who wasn't a player character, a runner, I didn't see it directly, but just in terms of how it kept things going smoothly, it was great.
My one gripe is nothing any of us can do, but my one gripe is that the way Roll20 is kind of shafted Pathfinder 2e content is really upsetting. It shouldn't be so hard to put together these macros, but it is.
Oh. You're safe now. They can't hurt you right now.
It's over.
It's over. You're okay.
No, for now. And then next season, it's just...
Yeah, these characters are clearly going to get simpler over time.
Once I've done the base work, it shouldn't be as bad, but like that base work is...
We spend part of After the War always talking about actual play production and our actual play experiences, and I want to talk about that with this group as well. But before I do, was there anybody else that wanted to jump in to talk about their character specifically, their approach to things going forward with Book 2, just to answer some of Matt's questions, or just to share any other observations you've had about these characters and this story so far?
I could talk about JDR a little bit, which is I came in with him to do a variety of things, basically like a multi-tool, but I ended up having to trim a lot of the fat when it came to just things I added to to a sheet that I was never going to use. I think I used Dirty Trick once.
But it was a very potent use of Dirty Trick.
It was a very good use.
Yeah. And like things like fleeing diversion, like there's a couple of things I just had to say, I'm probably not going to use this. And I thought I'd be tanking more, but as it turns out, I do a lot of damage when I commit myself to just punching things. So I think I made that transition mid-season from being like, I should just be everywhere doing everything to like, I need to stand in front of this big thing and get hit a lot and hit it a lot. And one of us is going to go down.
You're a real benefit to haste. Like you are, I feel like one of the best people to have haste because you're like setting yourself up and having that extra action to get those punches in. It paid off every time.
From a game design perspective, one of the criticisms I've raised before of all of the D20 systems, be they D&D or Pathfinder or anything else, is players are forced to choose between using their advancement resources on making themselves more survivable or effective in combat, and making themselves more interesting in exploration and role-playing contexts. And my view has, and I've been advocating this to no one in particular other than Jason for a decade, is those resources need to be separated out so that you don't want to have to make compromises about your combat survivability and your contribution to the party's survivability in combat, but if you have to use the same resources, then you're shortchanging the whole role-playing experience for the entire party if you're not taking those role-playing feats or you're not taking those skills that are usable outside of combat because you have to focus on surviving the next challenge. They should be completely separate pools of advancement resources, in my view, because then you can do that. You can be, I'm the world's best brewer and I'm really good in a fight without compromising either.
We've used we've used bonus feats liberally at our home table for that purpose, where there's a lot of bonus feats awarded. We also when we were doing our latest sort of main campaign, we took a lot of the base starter feats that are the entry level for other combat feats, other chains of feats that you would need in the future, and just gave those out. Everybody starts with these. Everybody gets the basic core fighter feats and rogue feats and things that you would need that are just from a survivability standpoint. You don't have to waste your advancement resources choosing these. You already have them. So then you can get a head start on those advancement trees that you want, but then also take the flavor choices that make the character more rounded and enjoyable to play.
Yeah, all those feats that are just feat taxes that no one uses the feats, but they need them as prerequisites. We just gave those out.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
So let's talk about our experience, just in terms of actual plays. This is not a pitch asking for blank praise just to heap on to say how wonderful this experience was, but actually in terms of we've all had different levels of actual play experience in terms of the number of shows or episodes we've taken part in, games we played. We've had good experiences. We maybe have experiences that aren't good. We're not looking to name and shame or call anything out, but I'd love to just get your guys' feedback on what Spore War and the series that we've just completed, how that's impacted your enjoyment or your participation in actual plays going forward. But then also if there's anything that stands out differently, good or bad, in terms of what you've had. And I'm going to actually ask Stephen to lead us off, because Stephen, I think, is the veteran of our group when it comes to an actual play resume, because he has been part of the Dungeon Scrawlers since its foundation, and he has been part of the inaugural Westgate Regulars campaign, which I think ran for 3 to 4 years, three
4
seasons.
years.
4 years,
yeah.
3 seasons. So very much taking characters from first level all the way up into high level play. I don't know what level you guys ended that series at, but
I think it might have been 16.
there you go. So familiar ground in terms of treading it, but Stephen had the long journey as well. No skip levels where, as we did in the preludes, where you jumped. Stephen was through there all through. But Stephen, lead us off just in terms of what actual plays maybe mean to you, and why you still keep coming back to this activity.
Oh, well, thanks. I mean, I just love immersing myself in a character and an experience, and just trying to have an adventure through the lens of someone else, and try to remember their perspective and just be them. It's an escape, I guess, but it's also a creative outlet. It's not as hard as writing. writing is plodding sometimes, and slow and solitary, and this is social and just as creative, and I really like that. And this particular, I also really appreciate a game that has been carefully designed, and it makes sense in a lot of ways that other systems don't, for various reasons. I used to play Rollmaster back in the day, which was, oh my God, the devotion to realism was extreme. And I loved it. It was great, but it was slow because the numbers, the math, and this was before you could just do it online. It was just all paper math, little tiny boxes you check off for every skill. And man, there were a lot of skills, but this is the closest thing to that. I just like I feel like I've accomplished something in a game like 2E. When I accomplish something, it means something. It's, there's other games, D&D, it's becoming a lot harder to die. The more every new edition, characters are just, oh my gosh, there's so many character ancestries now, with just, you start off with stuff that, like, I don't know, come on. An orc starts off with a 5th level cleric spell built in, and a 3rd level spell built in, Dark Vision and Death Ward, right? Come on, it's just, come on. So yeah, I always play humans because I don't want it handed to me like a cupcake. I want to freaking fight for it and have to think, and the chess of the game is really important to me too, not just embodying a character, but thinking through moves and optimizing my movement and all that stuff. I like all those things. It's so that's why I keep coming back. Plus I'm an addict, so I can't stop that. I'm just going to keep coming back.
You're a storyteller.
I am a storyteller. Yeah, it's true.
And Matt,
collaborative storytelling it's invigorating when you combine the creative and the social. You're absolutely right.
Yes, and you did a great job, if I may, creating a world that it only feels like you've accomplished something if the world feels like it it isn't bending to your will. You have to make things happen. There's no softballs. There's, if you do something dumb, you might just die. That makes it real. There have to be real stakes, and you did a really good job of setting it up so that, it felt like a real world where things bite, and you better be smart about how you proceed, and then you feel like you really accomplished something, and it's a rush, to evade real danger.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that. And I also loved Rollmaster. I played a lot of Rollmaster in my 20s and early 30s, and I lost a lot of characters in Rollmaster. One on the first roll of a campaign where a gargoyle pushed a piece of masonry off a castle wall, and it open-ended and crushed my skull. And there's no coming back from that. There's no resurrection or raised dead or anything like that for a first level Rollmaster character. That's just, that character's gone. So the tension from a game runner's perspective is, how do you make the dangers seem real, but how do you not trivialize the time that a player has spent creating their character and thinking out their backstory and all that as well?
Yeah.
And that's tough. There's a balance to be found there, and it is not easy to find.
It's very hard.
Gonna jump in here. I think you did that part very well. That balancing act of, hey, the world is dangerous, but you are competent. You're not just some schmuck.
Yeah. I remember the moment when the dude with the butt ropes was sitting on his throne.
Oh, God.
And you said, all right, well, this guy's evil, and he can do this thing, so sorry, but make a will save or whatever, and I'm like, okay, he already did a freaking disintegrate, and he's got something else like that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
There were some real turning points that maybe I should have emphasized more, but it would have been invisible to the player characters, where a save was made that was really key. And I think that was a domination spell in that instance, where
is that what
the
that
only
was?
one who could make it into the room, and if you suddenly changed teams, there was a problem.
I had a feeling that's what happened in that moment. Just because, that's what you do if you're evil.
That'll be something, Matt, you'll want to think about for book 2 is how do we include the audience in those moments, because obviously those things will be lost on them. So pulling back the curtain a little bit and revealing a little bit of the meta, just so that both the players get to have the reaction, but the audience gets to enjoy that moment too. Yeah.
I know I did it sometimes, but sometimes it was, and you make judgment calls in the moment, but yeah, it's never going to be perfect. But you're right.
How would you do that? How would you do that? That would be really cool.
I think you just do what you wouldn't normally do, and even though the players don't do it, you just break the fourth wall and say, here's what almost happened.
Yeah, okay.
Or alternatively, you could have moments where the villain we were fighting wasn't going to do it, but there are some villains that should have worked or whatever.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Who explain what they were doing. There is space in the universe for villains that overshare everything.
Yeah.
You could also do the whole sprinkle it in at the end. It's like, oh, and you successfully save against the dominate person spell.
Exactly.
And then just gloss past it, and we're all left going, let's go back.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah.
Only forward.
Yeah, and I suppose, like you did when he almost got petrified, you clued us in that what was going to happen, because stone starts to form around him. And that's how you showed it. That was great.
Yeah.
Disintegrate was obvious.
Yeah.
No, I think Toad knew what that spell was.
You've seen it a few times by that point. You're like, oh, this is serious.
Anyone else have takeaways? Actual play takeaways, either for this or previous series you've had, or how it's changed your approach to this hobby?
Yeah.
Oh. Go ahead, Sky.
Sure. It was a very interesting experience. This was my first experience with an actual play, and it was definitely a very different format to what I'm used to, obviously. When you're thinking about the production aspect of things as well, in the like being cognizant and being aware of like, oh, like there's a lot of silence going on as somebody's doing a rule checkup or somebody's thinking about what they wanted to do. And I think for me, a lot of that manifested in more like active pre-planning and going like having like a list in my head of like, okay, if this happens, Vren's going to do this. If this happens, Vren's going to do that. Like all of that sort of thing. And then also for me, I think I started thinking out loud in the middle of turns a little bit more, just so that everything out, like was out in the open, was a big one. And then
that's a great call.
Yeah, that was a very interesting one, and just the nature of the game and how it's accelerated and condensed in comparison to the source material has been a shift in perception that I found very, very interesting in a good way.
Speaking to that, Jason is up next to run some homebrew content in Pathfinder in our second edition in our home game. And given the tools that I now have with respect to keeping the pace up and all that sort of thing, I have all sorts of new tools with which I can harass and judge him as a game master at our home table, which I'm really looking forward to. In terms of takeaways, if you're asking about takeaways, Jason, that's one for sure that I will enjoy.
It wasn't on my list, but we'll make note of it for later. Thanks.
For me, one of the big takeaways that I'm lending into that or drawing from the idea of, hey, be mindful of silences, be mindful of space taken, that sort of thing. This is the first actual play I've actually started doing that more often. That whole, hey, let me talk through a thought. Hey, let my dude just yap about nothing because he's an idiot and he's going to do that. But I think what has helped kind of get me to that point is how willing all of you at the table have been to be very clear and very deliberate about, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I want to do. How do I go about doing that from here? Or, hey, this is the situation, and I need you as the players above table to know what's going on so that you can make your next choices accordingly. So it's been a very, I appreciate how open of a table it's been, and so that's helped me improve as a player and something I can take forward.
The astonishing thing about that, Lex, is the casting process. We were really not sure how that would go when we put out the call for players, but you all immediately made it easy, and the synergy that resulted can't be normal. This was incredible for me to have this group of players and just immediately come together and stick with it through the entire time. This was a gift for sure.
Do most people bail out of your games?
Goodness gracious, Steven, you can't just ask
Statistically speaking,
Most people want to, but if they're in my house, it's socially awkward. It's easier online.
Would it be in poor taste to joke about the award-winning dungeon master currently in the Zoom call with us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, legitimately though, statistically speaking, like actual plays and production of actual plays, groups tend to fall apart. Like, real life gets in the way real fast.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
fast.
A couple of you in our initial reach out, in our ads, veils, and bans process, and all of the things we went through to recruit and to get to know you and to make sure that what we had in mind was going to be a good fit for what you needed from a game. Some of you were candid and shared that, yeah, you've been part of maybe other productions that were up, started and failed right away, or that the chemistry was poor, or that it was, the personalities were poor, and so I feel exceptionally spoiled and lucky, because now, both in my Star Wars series and now here in Pathfinder, it's been, for the most part, all new people to me, meeting for the first time, trusting everybody to play nice and to come with the right attitude and to buy in and agree this is what we're looking to do, and to buy in and get that synergy there. but it's happened for me twice now. So I have not had that experience yet. So I know that that's an incredibly privileged moment for me to have. But I am so grateful that that hasn't been spoiled for me in that way. That my call sheet, so to speak, of people now that I get to reach out to has grown even bigger for whatever next series we do in the future. I'm so lucky because I feel like I've got trusted people that I've gotten to know through these different series that I've been a part of, that I would have no doubt. I mean, I know that I'll have good collaboration with this person, and that we'll have good professionalism and good courtesy and respect, and so it puts all of that at ease, and I don't even have to worry about that part of it going into future things that we do.
Ooh. It really was a good chemistry. It does not always work out that way.
No, I agree. Even though this is my first experience, I've seen enough where you can tell that the chemistry is tense or mismatched, and we didn't have that. Everyone held their own, which is also a gift.
I really like how much everyone was willing to be like alley oop or like, bounce pass for someone else to have the spike. Like from moment one when we're still figuring it out, I was like, Banda, I need you to break into this mansion and you need to go and steal this. And like moment one, you're like, yeah, of course.
Let's go.
And just like,
Yeah.
just like doing the sport, the buffing and debuffing, but like, how can I also buff my castmates of like, how can I put you to the front for this situation? How can I make sure that you're taking time and like taking the space that you deserve? And that's really delightful. So thanks
good.
everybody.
And complimentary sense of humor in the banter before the audience will never see that banter, but I had a lot of fun just as a group hanging out. So thank you all for that too. But I think that contributes as well to the synergy and the chemistry that makes this kind of thing work.
Mr. Parr, I'd like you to jump in, but Gwen, I wanted to say thank you for bringing that up because that alley-oop, that pass rather than shoot mentality, that is a skill, and that is a skill that is not easily learned. That you can teach someone to do it, maybe, but often it comes down to intuition, and I would layer it in with someone's care and empathy in terms of who they are. Are they thinking about how this affects other people? Are they thinking about how I can include somebody else? Not everybody at the role-playing table always has that instinct, and so for you to call that out is a reminder that how fortunate we are, and we've used the After the War series to talk about how gaming, how to structure games. We've talked about how do you handle personalities at your table and how you manage those things. We've tried to talk about those things from an instructional standpoint for people that could be new GMs, people that are new GMs for their home table, or maybe they're wanting just to do this exact process and start their first actual play. We wanted to try and pull back the curtain and share how to do that well, and looking for individuals that have that type of a skill set would be critical to success.
I think so. Well, it's about picking people who can play together. Like any other activity, it doesn't like you can have a whole bunch of Munchkin gamers and they're going to have a blast together, or you can have a whole bunch of storytellers who and you can have a mix as long as the maturity's there. You can have a rules lawyer and a Munchkin and a collaborative storyteller and a narrator and all those sorts of people. As long as the friendship and the chemistry works, that can work too.
What's a Munchkin?
Give me all the loot.
Oh,
Nice.
Not just give me all
Based
the
off
loot.
of the hit game Munchkin.
Yeah.
It's give me all the loot, and oh, by the way, don't worry about the hand in your pocket. That's you.
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Before we jump on to the next part, jump in. Yeah, please.
Yeah. I don't. It's interesting. I've played with a lot of different groups over the last like 6 years or so. Yeah, 6 years. Since 2019. My first actual TTRPG game session was streamed. And it was
First?
Monster of the Week.
oh my God.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
I just signed up for a thing, and then we did a session 0, which I think was actually streamed. And then we did a session and I was just off to the races. Like, oh, okay, we're just doing this. But having done so much that, yeah, a group like this is unique because I've played in the TTRPG space. I've played with a lot of groups that have done well, but I think immediately this group was playing off each other in a way that I think is unique.
I agree.
And I think we just gave each other that time, just a little bit of patience to really sort of find our roles here and, you know, get that teamwork going. And I know for me, when I came into this, I was like, I was actually burnt out on TTRPG. I wasn't sure if I wanted to jump back into another actual play, but I was like, you know, let me just try it. Let me just talk to them, see what's happening, and then make my character. And when I did that, I was like, okay, this group seems great.
I'm really happy with the group more than anything else, and thank you for being part of this, all of you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and thank you, Matt, for doing all of the background work for this to convert this into something that was workable for like relatively short term, like actual play, like media. And it's like, realistically speaking, I know that we've talked a bit about like, oh yeah, this was supposed to be like XYZ amount of total sessions. Each of the preludes was supposed to be an individual session and everything like that. I ultimately think that it worked better at the length that it ended up being.
Well, and frankly, I couldn't cut it any shorter because you guys were doing such great role play interactions that it would have been a crime to deprive you of those opportunities, and I realized that early on. But I did very little work. Jason spent hours and hours on this.
I'm gonna say that one of the most amazing things about this
yeah,
is freaking, you have a producer who's willing to put time into improving, you know, our what we're doing. And
Yep.
every game I've ever been in, somebody has to do the producing. It was always Yang, and poor Yang, like he was trying to play a character and monitor the streaming thing. I mean, it was I would have hated that. And it's such a gift to have, you know, Jason doing all that stuff. And
he put in a heroic effort on this,
yeah,
and I will be forever grateful.
I mean, Jason, you put in the time watching us, and then all alone doing like multiplying that by 4 more hours, you know, and so that's pretty cool.
Well, the tough part is that Jason has to sit here behind the glass, pounding at the screen, going, "What are you doing? No!" Like, Jason? What's the moment that you're like, "Come on, are you joking me? What are you thinking?" You know.
So like, I just finished editing episode 9, which will go up, which will probably go up tomorrow night, as we're recording this for when episode 9 goes up, and it was even though the tactical combat scene at the end of episode 9, which is when you first meet the sin molds, and that it's a relatively short part of the episode, but the amount of dead air that I had to cut because it's the conversation that we just had as a group a few minutes ago about learning about our characters and about learning about the tactical play and learning about these high level abilities. You guys all had really specific things. You were dealing with some really low AC, high hit point, very like no immune to critical hits. Like everything that you're good at doing is suddenly not going to work with this thing, and so you have to rethink, rejig it in the moment. And it wasn't that it wasn't dead air because you guys weren't putting in effort. It's because you were all guys, each on your turns, scrambling to figure out, I got to look this up. What does this do again? What do I got to go? And so it was like, man, here we are, episode 9, and we've had conversations, and you guys are being cognizant of time and doing that, and it's still happening. And so that's not me pounding at the glass being frustrated, but that's like, man, it's showing the audience is not having to see that. The audience is going to see these quick sort of cutaways where like the heads will jerk a little bit on the screen where you guys shift position, and then the scene just carries on. But I was surprised in terms of like all of you, everybody had a few moments where like you were a little bit paused in terms of what do I do next. And it took this much slightly longer episode, and I really was condensing it down to time. I think the whole episode ends up only being 2 hours because there was a lot of that I had to cut away even for that. And so that was just my most recent experience with it. That's the challenge, and Matt and I had a conversation on the last After the War preceding this one about the transition, if we do that, to live play, to save my sanity and to save my time in terms of the production and technical aspect of it, but the importance of everybody as a group really being on their game and coming prepared to Sky's point about doing the pre-work and doing their homework on their character between sessions, to learn what you're doing. And I think the strong likelihood that most of you are going to respec your characters to some degree coming back for book 2, just to rejig and cut away, as Mr. Parr said, right, cut away the fat, get to the lean meat, get to the really good meaty part of the character that works, but also that from a tactical standpoint is going to be most effective. But to do that, then you're going to have to relearn some abilities, make sure you know your definitions, make sure you know your explanations for things, because if we go live, it's going to save Jason, but then it's all on you guys. All the responsibility and all of the tempo falls to you guys to keep it live, which is exactly what Lex was talking about, with that Lex having now had their attention drawn to dead air and what that means, and to talk out loud to make sure that problem solving is done with the group, but also to be respectful of the audience's time and to make sure that we're not just playing a home table game where we're flipping open books and looking things up, and the audience is sitting there, looking at their watch going, well, I guess I could switch the channel because this isn't going anywhere.
So, and to speak to that, I think what we need to do, despite it being painful, is have plan A, B, and C every turn in order. Have a written cheat sheet for your character as to, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Here are my different attack options. Here are my different options and what rules they invoke. And having that like a physical piece of paper, even if you can't structure it any other way, where you need to be able to be resilient to changing circumstances and have plan B already sorted, or have a list of possible plan B, C through H as to what you can do tactically. I've played with a game runner in a live table game where if you weren't ready on your turn, he moved on. You were stammering, or in combat, if you didn't know what you were going to do in combat, then your character didn't know what they were going to do, and they lost the opportunity to act. And it sucks. It is. You feel like it's a bit of humiliation that I did not dig.
I've played games like that too, where it's just like, man, this thing is changing. How are you gonna just take my turn from me?
Yeah, exactly. It sucks. So I never want to go there, but we do need to, and it's on me too, right? I can't go, oh shit, I forgot to look out how have this spell loaded for this creature that can go to that spell. And I did that better in episode 9 and 10 than I did previously. I had tabs and tabs of spells open ready to flick to, and then sometimes I'd close one by mistake, and then oh, there are two.
The tab juggling is such a fun experience as a dungeon master. It's yeah, especially online. It's at some point, even if you don't accidentally close a tab, sometimes you just lose one of your references, and suddenly you're panicked and clicking through everything and like, where did I have that?
I had it somewhere.
Yep.
I promise you, I had it somewhere.
That's why
By
I
episode
struggle
10,
to
not in
GM
episode
systems like this with so many moving parts, because it's like, I'm terrible with tabs. I will have 60 tabs in a single window and go, oh God, which tab was it?
I end up having physical pieces of paper and tabs because there's some things I don't want to risk closing by accident.
Yeah.
And then I've misplaced the piece of paper.
Yep.
Well, and I didn't invite Matt to do his first actual play with the kitty ride version. It's like this, we're gonna do let's do a Pathfinder Second Edition actual play, for the first time for you. And then he's the one that chose the high level adventure path as his first one to go. Like the catalog was open; he could have chosen anything, and he went for the high level play. So we went for all the challenges all at the same time. So it's the fact that it comes off as well as it does. I'm very proud of that because it shows that everybody put forward really good effort, and we didn't shy away from that challenge. So
there were some times when I was preparing for work at issues or preparing for trial at the same time, and had real regrets about the complexity of what we'd undertaken.
Yep. I'm going to throw it to Seneschal to do some closing comments, and then we'll go to each of you to remind everybody where they can find you, who you are, any other games or creative endeavors you've got on the go. Make sure you share that with the audience one last time so that they can find you. And I will close by asking all of you, the players and our amazing team, and hopefully anybody who's watching, please help us share this. When we air these last few episodes in the next few weeks, I'm going to go on and do, which I've done very poorly, and which I mean not at all, do a bit of a social media blitz and go on Blue Sky and go on maybe Reddit and go into the actual play spaces. I just found a actual play directory that somebody has posted online, apparently, that you can list all of the actual plays that you've been a part of. So there's a bunch of promotion work that we all need to do just to share Spore War with a broader audience, and I will ask each of you to help us do that as we go through the holiday season here towards we close 2025. And we've got the immediate Dungeon Scrawlers community that's maybe joined us for the ride so far. It would be great once we got the completed series that we can just point to it and say, here's a fantastic fun story that we just did. We would love for you to take advantage of it, and then people can just enjoy it at their own schedule. But maybe we'll pick up a few more people for when we prep and then promote book 2 as a live show. We can maybe bring in some of that new audience with us.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I think having the catalog of quick clips that showcase some of the best moments and some of the most dramatic role play and combat clips would be really helpful. And I do think having the ability to show, we've got more than a dozen episodes. This is not going to evaporate. Is helpful on selling the investment of time to watch it. The idea that it gets better over time means the clips are going to be really important to snag people in to start watching when it's a little slower and a little, where I'm learning. But I absolutely think it's worth watching. And the between the session 0, which we haven't yet edited to air.
It's edited and ready to air, and will be aired probably after episode 10 and before the final episode 11. So it's coming.
Oh,
Fantastic. So we've got the session 0, we've got the preludes, and we've got all of the episodes of the actual book 1 of Spore War. We have actually a fair amount of content there. And I'm really excited to see how it will attract attention once we start promoting it. But I think Jason's right. It's going to be a collective effort. And we just need to encourage each other in the Discord channel, talking about where we promoted it, linking to where we promoted it, and encouraging each other to do it.
And if you've been watching After the War, Matt, depending on how many of them you've gotten to as we put them out, there is of course the session 0 After the War, so the very first one will be up there as well. So everyone will get to see, warts and all, the initial conversation of how we tried to structure these.
Yes.
It's good. It's good.
I have no shame.
Yeah. Very good. All right. As you guys go around, as you do with your introductions, let's go around one more time and remind everybody who you are and tell us about any other cool creative things you might have on the go. And if you don't, then just whatever you want to feel like sharing or promoting other people's work. If there's another show out there that you know people should put their eyes on.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Gwendolyn again. I'm a 7th and 8th grade middle school English and theater teacher. But if you want to talk to me about TFT RPGs or anything of the sort, the best place to find me is on Instagram at CovenGwen, just CovenGwen. If you ever want to talk about any RPGs or anything like that, I'm looking into running a game of Masks of Nyarlathotep, which... for our veterans out there, probably somewhat familiar with that one. So I'm interested in anything you have to say about it, or any advice running a long-term Call of Cthulhu game. But check out all my friends here. Check out all these wonderful people. Support them. Give them a double click. But yeah.
Thanks, man.
Okay, hey, I'm Par. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch at Mr. Par, Mister, Par. And I don't know, I stream, make content sometimes, not too much. I also appear on TTRPG streams like this occasionally. I may find a new one in the between time, but it's pretty much all there is on me.
well. Hi, I'm Lex. You can find me at LexArts with 2 X's, like my card, with 2 R's, which has all of my links and includes some of the other stuff I've been on. I need to look into that directory, because that seems like a great place to find stuff. Speaking of finding stuff, next place you can find me is probably Seeds of Magic, which is over on Thorny Dryad's channel. It's tonally a lot different than Spore War, but also very fun.
Awesome.
Very, very fun.
And Lex, did you not just do a quick one-shot, two-shot here on Dungeon Scrawlers? Or was it on...
Oh, yeah!
Yeah.
Curseborn! I'm so excited for that game. I'm just so excited. I want it to be out now. I mean, Kickstarter-wise, it kind of is, but also I want it to be, like, published out now.
But the episodes are published now already, right? Was that the one that was on?
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure both episodes are up. And if you like shenanigans and chaos and planning and plotting, it's great for that. Scion, similar sort of system, like it's good stuff.
And of course, once again, my name is Sky. You can find me at Blue Sky, though I have not been posting very often, if at all, up to that point. I am in the same boat as Jason, and in that I've been meaning to post, but I have not. At Words from the Sky, all one word with an E at the end, .bsky.social. And of course, just as Gwen said, follow all of these lovely people. Look into what they're doing. And I will also be looking into that funny little Reddit directory for actual plays, because I've found myself in need of some additional things to watch. And of course, I am also an aspiring voice actor, so in the event that any of those projects bear fruit, you will see it on my Blue Sky as well.
Awesome.
I'm Stephen Merlino. When I'm not here, I'm a high school English teacher. Used to work with Gwen. That was cool. I got to hear all Gwen's ruminations about what kind of character she was going to play. And I remember she was going, oh, I want to play a wizard, but it sounds so complicated for 2E. Do you think I should do that?
You should have talked me out of it. You were a bad friend.
Yeah, I remember that. I think I tried to, actually.
You did try.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you did.
Paladin's about as complicated as I can go. I was thinking about just doing a straight fighter, but yeah, that was pretty funny. But when I'm not doing that, I'm writing. I have a couple novels, fantasy novels, sword and sorcery style novels out. The first one, The Jack of Souls, is free for Kindle right now on Amazon. So check that out if you like. And I'm working on a D&D module right now that I have in the past run on Dungeon Scrawlers as a playtest with Gwen. And that'll probably be happening again here, book 3 of it. We've done book 1 and 2. Book 3 will be coming up someday. Probably not this year. It looks like the calendar, the Dungeon Scrawlers calendar, is pretty booked till like February, January. So anyway, yeah, that's me. Thanks for watching.
And thank you, Stephen. And I'm Matt Fisher. I go by Seneschal, and I go by Seneschal so that no one will find out I'm a semi-prominent Canadian lawyer. I have made time for this because it's important to me, and collaborative storytelling is my passion. I'm an aspiring author who's never finished a book, and this gives me my creative outlet and my social outlet, and keeps me sane, whether it be tabletop, in person, or now experiencing this absolutely phenomenal group of players, and having had really a wonderful time running this game. I look forward to book 2. I also really am excited about the possibility of playing in an actual play, streamed or recorded. I think that would be a ton of fun, and I look forward to playing a troublesome character that gives a GM an appropriate challenge. That's my aspirational goal at this point. And I want to particularly thank the players who've made this a blast, and Jason, who made this possible. Thank you.
Yeah.
And before I close this out, just to come back one more time to what Mr. Parr was saying about feeling burnt out about actual plays and yet still coming back to them, I warned Matt when we started this that even when we get to the end of book 1 and the relief and just the little bit of joy that we all get that weeknight back on our schedules, and in my case I get several weeknights back from the editing chores, that the itch, once it burns up, cannot be scratched easily, and keeps coming back. And you want to come and do this again and again. And now he's got that itch, and I think he's going to find it difficult to scratch. He's going to want to come back and play again. And so there's that the joy in that too, and that exposing him to actual plays in terms of participation, not just as a passive audience. And now he gets to think about how he's going to do it again and again. So that's just going to be
Thank
fun.
you for that, and let it be known I'm itchy.
Yeah, exactly. My name is Jason Collins. I am published as JL Collins. I'm a freelance comic book writer. My fantasy comic Thistle issue 1. You can get a link to that for the PDF on my link tree at digital_Collins. Thistle issue 2 should have been done already, but through the power of collaboration, we are desperately waiting for my collaborative partners, so my comic book partners, to finish their work so we can get issue 2 finished, and then we'll have 2 issues of my fantasy comic series available. I am an award-winning actual play game master and producer. I've done 2 actual play series here on Dungeon Scrawlers already. My Star Wars series Quadrilateral Frostfall, which was an award-winning actual play celebrated at the New Jersey Web Fest this past year. I am very, very proud of that, and you can find all of those episodes here on Dungeon Scrawlers if you want a little bit of Star Wars, a little bit of drama, and just a little bit of great role-playing, just as we've done here with Spore War. And I've done a little bit of freelance tabletop role-playing game design in my time. Links to the projects I've been involved in are all on my link tree as well. And I am on Blue Sky, and just like Sky, I am taking a hiatus from posting on social media, but I do need to get back to that for multiple reasons now as we close out the year. And my Blue Sky is digital_Collins as well, and the link to my Blue Sky is on my link tree as well. I want to sincerely thank our players. I want to sincerely thank Seneschal, our game runner, and I want to sincerely thank all of you for taking time to join us this evening as we close out this book 1 of Spore War the Adventure Path, our actual play series here on Dungeon Scrawlers. We've had so much fun doing this for you, and so much excitement each week getting together and seeing what new craziness would occur, and that's evident when you watch the episodes, as you see. And I don't think it'll take us too long. I think book 2 will be around the corner, but that will be a project for the new year. Gives you time to watch all the episodes that we put out so far, and then maybe you'll join us for a live show if we do that next year. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you again soon.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.